Hi everyone, my name's Ciara Crimmins and I work for A&P and I'm actually a cyber analyst in the cybersecurity team there. But what's interesting, I guess, and what I'm here to kind of talk to you about today is that I've never in my life studied cybersecurity. So for me, university was actually not here, sadly. It was at Sydney University, and I did an advanced mathematics degree, and I majored in mathematics and computer science. And so when it came time for me to look with what I wanted to do with my career, there was a lot of panic, which I'm sure a lot of people have experienced, but I was looking around and kind of leaning towards the IT part of what I'd studied. And A&P stood out to me as a financial services company because I saw kind of that link between my maths and the finance part of what I might be doing, and if I did an IT stream with them, I figured that would be really good. And then it was kind of the way that their grad program's structured that also really appealed to me. So you get to do 4 rotations, 6 months each one in a different team. And you actually get a lot of choice when you're picking, and you get to have input into which teams you go into, which I found really appealing as well. And there's a lot of support for grads at A&P. It's very, very important to the wider business that all the grads are well supported. So when A&P called and offered me a position in their IT grad program, I definitely accepted. And so my first rotation was in the data warehousing team. So that was a very technical team. They look after databases and that kind of stuff. So I got to do a lot of coding in that team. And then in my second rotation, I was actually very lucky to get to do an out-of-stream rotation. So I moved out of IT and into a financial modeling and validation team, which was almost pure maths for 6 months. I loved it, and it also taught me a lot about the way tax and super and all those kinds of bits of financial services work, which was actually really useful for me to then bring back into the kind of IT part of my job. And then when it came time for me to look at what I wanted to do with my third rotation, I had a meeting with the head of cyber at that time, and he sat me down in a room and he said, "We want to do data analytics." And I said, okay. Didn't study that, not sure how good I'll be at it, but he knew I had a maths background, so I thought, what's wrong with just giving it a go? So I went and worked in the cyber team for 6 months and loved every second of it. We ran a program where we looked at vulnerability management, and we used data analytics as one of the core components of that, and helping people understand what was out there, what they needed to fix, and things like that. And luckily, when it came time for me to move on, they offered me a job, which I was very grateful for, and I was not hesitant to accept. I think the amount I'd learned about cybersecurity just in the 6 months I've been in the team, it made it really appeal to me as a career, and it actually was more appealing because I was getting to use all the bits of my degree that I loved the most, like the maths and that kind of stuff, and bring it into an area where I didn't think I would be working. So I've been there for 1.5 years now, and I don't think I'm going to be leaving anytime soon, which is good. So that kind of brings me on to the big 3 pieces of advice I want to give you guys. So the first is to not be defined by your degree. And I know it's pretty obvious for me to say that because I don't work directly in an area that came from my degree. But I think in my cybersecurity job, I've met people who have marketing degrees, who have biology degrees, who have all kinds of different degrees, but they've made a career in cyber and in financial services because it's about those skills you learn and that kind of underlying knowledge and problem solving and logical thinking that can bring you to the careers that you want. My second is to take every opportunity that you can, even if you think you'll fail. Going into my rotation in cyber, I was convinced I was going to go in for 6 months and it was going to not be the best thing and not be the worst thing, and I'd learn a lot and move on. But it is actually ended up being where I want to kind of do the rest of my career, which is really good for me. And then my final one is to consider companies and industries that aren't tech-centric. We're in a world now where technology is becoming kind of the center point for a lot of companies where it wasn't before. A&P is very much included in that. And so I think it's important to be able to marry up maybe your more technical, analytical knowledge with maybe some industry knowledge. So in my case, financial services. And it'll open up a wide range of jobs that you maybe hadn't thought about before, and it'll definitely give you that kind of edge in the market. So if you have any questions about A&P or cyber or anything, come chat to us after this in the next room, and thank you.